Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to the Diary of a Single Mom. My name is Mariam Sheikh Hussein. First of all, I would like to thank everyone who has not only watched this video, but the ones who have subscribed. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And I'm actually so excited to see where this is gonna lead me. So yeah, let's get to it. So in this video, I decided to make a big decision and share my story of when I got married at 18 in Somalia. I'm currently 32 now, so I had a lot of time to heal. I had a lot of time to literally keep myself to myself. But I do feel like this story is of importance because I'm sure there are some people that currently might be wanting to get married, and this is not for me to make you feel like, oh, it's negative, like the marriage is negative, because no, that's not what I'm trying to pinpoint out here. However, I do feel like maybe my story could help people learn lessons. Sorry, I forgot to mention, if you like this video and you feel like it resonates with me, please click like and comment and subscribe, girl, because you know I'm going to bring the tea. So I'm going to give you like a short, brief story about my marriage and how it went down. So when I was 18, going on 19, my mom decided that we are going to Somalia on a holiday. And I was like, okay, cool. Just finished my A-levels at the time. I was going through depression at the time, but I didn't know that I was going through depression at that time. We went to Somalia, and the plane ride was hilarious because the planes didn't have air conditioning. The plane was so hot inside. Not only that, I'm not even kidding. This was 2012, so things have gotten better now, right? But I remember there were no seat belts in the airplane. So basically, I was terrified. And there were some ladies that were literally sitting on the floor in the airplane. Like, I've never seen that before. And then I asked for some water, and one of the flight attendants gave us all water, yeah? And the water was so hot, guys. Like, I've never actually drank hot water, but I was like drinking it, and I was like, well, I'm thirsty, so I have to finish this. The plane ride was flipping crazy. Not only that, it was very, I don't know how to describe it. It was traumatic. Let's just say that. My mom was so happy because she was going to see her husband at the time. So I remember when I turned around to look at my mom, she was sweating and she was smiling at me, like her face just shining, beaming. Like I was just like, oh my God, what did I just choose to do in my life? My mom was like, you have to go to Somalia. Everyone thought my mom was going to take me and leave me, but she made it clear that she wasn't going to do that. I ended up putting myself in a situation with my dumb 18-year-old self. But Alhamdulillah, no regrets, because of course I have my 3 beautiful daughters, and Alhamdulillah, we're doing well now. So anyways, when we were supposed to stop at Bur'a. We were supposed to stop at Hargeisa, and I remember the plane stopped us at Bur'a. So our passports got taken away, and they were telling us we need to pay them £250 if we were going to get our passports back. I remember at that time my Somali was so bad, and this is what I'm saying, like I really appreciate going to Somalia, like when I was 18, because I've learned so much about my culture. Our passports got taken away, and they were basically saying to my mom that she needs to pay 250 if she wants to get the passports back or something like that. It was very weird. I wasn't understanding what they were saying, because they had the accent, they had the Hargeisa accent. Now Somali, Alhamdulillah, is so good, and wallahi, I feel like I assimilated into my culture because I did end up staying there for almost 2 years. Going back to Hargeisa, we go on a car drive to Bosaso, and that's when I first meet my uncle. I absolutely love my uncle Abdi Mahdi. Like, he's so amazing. Like, he literally houses everyone that comes from Europe. Like, all the teenagers that got sent by their parents to come to Europe, like, he would house them. Like, they all lived with my uncle, and literally they would come out rehabilitated. Like, so there would be 15-year-olds or 16-year-olds that are getting sent to Bosaso, to my uncle's house, and they were troublemakers, some of them, right? And then they would come out and they're rehabilitated, like good behavior, everything. So I don't know what my uncle had, but my uncle was a low-key a magician and that stuff. But when I go to Somalia, my mom has this really big villa, really nice house. We stay in the house, and we had this big bedroom, and the maid was sleeping with us in the room, so I got to know the maid. It was really nice, mashallah. And the first few days, because it was so boiling hot, I remember counting down the days, because we were supposed to stay there for 2 months. I was literally counting down the days until we go back for the first 3 weeks, and I was calling my friend Sagalia, who's still till this day, she's a sister to me, right? I was calling her, and I was just like, I don't know what to do. Like, I want to leave this place. It's so hot. I couldn't even sleep because it was so hot. We had the fan, but the fan was just circulating the heat. after about a month, I started settling in and I actually enjoyed being in Somalia, and I never thought that I was going to enjoy staying in Somalia, right? I made really close relationships with my Habriero, who were also young, so they were around about my age or a little bit older, and it was so fun. Like honestly, like Aptigay, like he would just take us out, like, and I would literally have deep conversations with my uncle because he understands English, and his English got better when we went there as well. So my Somali got better as well. So we were just like, having fun, chilling. Like my brothers were there. My brothers looked nuts because they were there for like 3 years. My mom actually did decide to like leave them there, but they were staying safe in my uncle's house, Alhamdulillah. None of those boarding school stuff, horrors, because I can't lie to you, I've heard so many horror stories of like young teenagers being left in like boarding school, girls and boys, and the shit that goes down there is crazy. But my brothers were staying with my uncle, and they learned Quran, they learned so many things. So, but they look nuts. Like I can't lie to you, they look crazy. Like when I last saw them till when I saw them in Somalia, I was in shock. Like they look crazy. So let me just skip to how I got married, because I feel like I can speak about this all day, like being in Somalia and all of this, because my sister was with me and we weren't even that close, because my sister's, mashallah, she's quite religious, and like we just had different views on life, right? But we just managed to get so close to each other, like during that whole shebang that happened in my holiday to Bosaso. But anyways, we were there for a few months. We ended up staying longer. There was this guy that worked for my uncle, and yeah, we basically just hit it off, and then I ended up getting married to him. I wanted to get married. I was 18 going on 19. I don't want to go too deep into the reasons why I chose to get married to him and all of this, maybe in the future, but I decided I was going to get married. I feel like it was quite like we were getting to know each other and stuff, and then he was basically trying to push for the marriage. Like he was really, really pushing it. He was pushing it, darling, right? What I said was, I said, okay. And my mom was very upset, because my mom was like looking at me and she was like, Marian, like, you're going back to Ingriska, like you can't be getting married and all of this. My dad called from America. He was like, oh, well, what are you doing? Like, and he's like, you're not getting married. And my grandma was like, it's halal, just go on. And then my dad was like, hey, so I get married. The wedding was so hilarious. I had like 3 parties in Somalia. So it was the wedding was really nice, I can't lie to you. I remember this lady that was doing my hair, and she did my ilan so beautiful. But I remember when it came time to do the makeup, I was like, girl, I'm gonna do my own makeup, right? Because she tried to put some nuts white powder on my face. I was like, how would it make? She was like, mashallah, I was like, how would it? No, please, like, no. And my mom was like, and I was scared of my mom, so I was just like, I wiped it off. I went to my room in my mom's villa, and I put my own makeup and all of this. Obviously, makeup is much better now. I know that there are so many Somali makeup artists in Somalia, and they do an amazing job at doing makeup. But I can't lie to you, this was 2012, girl. All right, so keep up with me. Anyways, we had our wedding and everything, and after our wedding finished, that's when I realized that I was okay in the marriage, but when the marriage started proceeding, like I feel like he already started showing red flags at that point. He was very controlling, and he was just like, we were just 2 completely different people. And I should have known that when I was getting my ass married in Somalia. I should have literally put my thinking cap on and been like, I need to escape, like at some point. Anyways, we were married. I stayed there for like quite a while. I stayed there for almost 1.5 years. And I remember, like, if we would have a little argument, he would just ignore me for like, I'm not even joking with you, he would just ignore me for like 2 weeks, and not talk to me. And he would say things like, a Muslim woman has to listen to her husband, da 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 da. Bear in mind, he wasn't making that much money, so I was like a very patient wife, I remember my cousins, my sister, like everyone was wilding out in England. They were like, Marian is the last person we thought was going to get married. And they were basically accusing my mom. They were just saying, oh, like, this and this. And my mom was like, you know what I mean? Like, and she wanted it, which is true. Anyways, I decided to leave Somalia. And at this time, because I was pregnant with my first daughter, and I was like, right, party's over, Marian. You need to get your ass back to England because that's where all the opportunities lie. Reshan, dad joked, if you're staying here, no, my child needs to have a passport. You know, I was born in Sweden, so my daughter needs to have a Swedish passport in all of this. I go to England. My uncle and my mom advised me to move to Sweden, where my uncle is, to basically try get papers for my husband now, right? So anyways, I moved to Sweden, and during the whole process of like starting the papers and everything, I remember it was so stressful. And not only that, like I remember him just pressuring me to get the papers, like pressuring me to get the papers. Not only that, he would call me several times a day to check what I was doing. And he would also make comments like, oh, I had a dream that you were cheating on me and stuff like that, which I found very odd, you know. So it was already like, it was red flag after red flag after red flag. And I remember me holding on to this marriage because I was thinking, I already got married to this guy. And hell no, am I going to become a single mom? That's what I was thinking. Because growing up, I remember like how people would talk about single mothers was quite negative. And my mom was a single mom for quite a long period of time before she got remarried again. So I didn't want to be in that category, right? Now that I think about it, I'm just like, girl, you know, but Alhamdulillah, what was written was written. My other two daughters were supposed to come into this world, Sumaya and Safa. And I'm so grateful for them, Alhamdulillah, because I feel like being a parent has taught me so many things. It's taught me patience. It's taught me the importance of education. It's taught me the importance of healing yourself so that you can be present with your children, because a lot of people aren't present with their children, if you know what I mean. Like, and obviously this is due to factors such as if you never got attention as a child, you're not going to be giving attention to your child and all of this. Not to blame the parents, because everybody's been through what they've been through. And me as a second generation, am I a second generation? I think I'm second generation. Yeah, so me being second generation, I know that my mom had to fight so hard to just get us to where we are right now. Not only that, in 1991 is when the war hit, right? The civil war in Somalia hit and it broke. And there are several issues that a person has to face when they come here to a westernized country. They have to learn to assimilate to the culture, you know. It's not easy. So anyways, I was with him, and like I would go to Ethiopia because that's where he stayed, and come back. And then, you know, I mean, I ended up having Sahara and Sumaya, so I had two at this point. Like, he would always bring the deen and be like, oh, like, you're gonna go to hell if you don't listen to me. Do you know that a woman is supposed to listen to her husband? You're gonna go to hell. And I was like, bro, like, you're in a place right now where I'm not even getting my rights, you know. Just thinking, right, like, this guy was actually using Islam as a weapon. And I know that that's not what Islam's, you know, this is not Islam. This is based on how people would like to use religion as a weapon to get what they want. He finally came to Sweden, and we were together. And I wasn't really, as soon as he came, I started feeling like, okay, this doesn't feel good, you know. We started living together, and as I was gaining more confidence, as I was, you know, learning, actually got really good at speaking Swedish, you know, because I left when I was 5, and then I came back as a 19-year-old or going on 20. So I had to learn the Swedish language again. I made new friends. So when he saw that, I feel like he started feeling like, rah, like, my control is slipping away. I can't control this girl anymore. He would make comments to me like, like, what have you done for your life? You've done nothing for your life, you know, and things like that. And by this point, I was already pregnant with Safa. I realized then that this guy was really making me feel bad about myself. Yeah, I remember even his sister made a rumor about me in Somalia, which circulated and came back to my mom, and my mom told me, and I was just like, oh my gosh, I could speak about this in another video, inshallah. But she made this terrible rumor about me, and he was in on it, you know, and it was just really messy and very chaotic. And I just kept saying to him, you know, this is not what I want. You know, we need stability. We need stability in our house, you know. We don't want all of this going on in our life. And I'm one of those people, like, I have to have stability around me. If I don't, then it really affects my mental health. So I told my mom was like, subhanallah, wallahi billah. Yeah, my mom was shocked. This time my mom was in Somalia and I was in the UK. I told my aye, oh my days, I did not expect this reaction. My aye was like, Baye, no, you're not gonna have a divorce. Like, you know, she was shouting, and she was like, it was like, I don't know, like she was thinking back into the 50s or something, like, you know, when she was younger, you know. She was like, that is not happening. I was like, yeah, yo, you know, like this is what's happening. She was like, nah, yeah, she was so upset. But afterwards, I remember her, she came back to me and she started speaking to me and just telling me, like, you know, whatever, are you sure you want to do this? She was like, Minkan, if you get back with him, she was like, that's it, like, what can I take her thing? But right now, are you sure you want to make this decision? I was like, hey, it's been 6 years. You know, my eyes were dark, you know, I was like, it's been 6 years, like. Anyways, in the end, Alhamdulillah, I got my divorce. So the reason why I chose to get my divorce, I feel like I stayed way too long. But I can't change the past because I would not have had my little one suffer. So she would have been erased from the picture. So I would not want to take anything back from all the decisions that I've made. No matter how stupid the decisions were at the time, I feel like the outcome was for the good in the end. And I feel like my life is a testimony to people, you know, is a testimony to any single mom out there who has been through domestic violence, who has been through mental health problems, who's dealing with issues, who's doing it on her own, that trust me, you can come out of this and you can heal. And you can come out of this and feel like you're in a better place. Trust me. It just might take longer, unfortunately. When you make the choice to be with someone and they end up becoming abusive or unhealthy or something, you have to deal with the outcome and you have to deal with the consequences of that. And sometimes that means years of therapy, years of healing. You might need to go on medication, you know. There's absolutely nothing wrong with medication because I've been on medication before. The reason why I chose to finally get my divorce is, if you look at psychology, there's something called schema. So I'm going to put it up here. Schema is how a child sees themselves and their world around them. And this happens in their childhood. So when they're forming their childhood years, they start to develop how they see the world. They start to develop their sensory motor skills. You know, when they're picking up toys and they're learning to walk and they're learning to talk, and all these things happen during, I think, from 1 to 3. So that's when they actually start to form an attachment with their parents. They also start to learn like how they see the world. I also wanted to say that a child's schema is formed based on repeated events and repeated behaviors, repeated patterns that are happening in their life. And that's how they form it. My oldest daughter was 4 at the time. I made the decision that if I stay in this situation, because we were living without him for such a long time, so we had a routine, we had everything. He was on the phone yapping sometimes, trying to control me and stuff. But Alhamdulillah, like, I wasn't cohabiting with him. But I realized that if I was to stay in this relationship, this would affect my children's schema and how they see themselves, how they see the world, and how they see relationships. And I wasn't willing to sacrifice my children's self-esteem, self-worth for just them staying in a 2-parent household. This is me telling the brief story of my life to the age of 19 to the age of 24 when I finally decided to get a divorce. I had nothing to my name, guys. I was struggling, guys. I was going through it. I'm telling you, when I say actually going through it, like, it's actually mad. Like, you know, even the aunties that will come to my AA's house, like, they would just be like, and I'll be like, you know, and they would look at me oddly. But in saying all of that, Alhamdulillah, that's when I fully started again to heal, you know, myself. I got as much help as I needed. And at that time, I was struggling, like, all my days. Like, it was so hard, you know. If you think a single mom with 3 kids right now studying uni is struggling, Alhamdulillah, this is nothing compared to what I went through in the beginning. I don't even see this as struggle, you know. But Alhamdulillah, making that decision was the best decision for my life, even though at the time I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. My children needed me. My children needed a stable parent. They also needed me to pour love into them, to learn myself, and to also create stability for my children. I'm just going to end the video here because I just feel like I'm going to be talking forever, right? And we don't want that, darling. I would like to thank each and one of you who stayed till the end. Thank you so much for listening to this video. I hope that whoever this comes across is kind, because I know that everybody has something to say and people have their own judgments. But here we are. I know all of us make decisions sometimes that we're not proud of, but I feel like it leads us to a destination. And I wouldn't change anything that happened for the world. Anything that happened, I cannot change it, and I would not change it. But thank you all so much for listening. I really appreciate it. Mwah.